Every generation's fears are buried in horror. You look at the classic kind of monster movies of the 50s and the 40s, that really identified a large part of the fears of that time being like the communists, right? These like this vague entity that we don't really know much about but is very scary and is really out to get you. That was a big part of that era. And then you look a little bit later on at like the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, all the slasher movies, right? Big fear at that time was actually straight up serial killers. People like the Zodiac Killer or Ted Bundy were literally at their peak during those periods. And then you look at modern movies now. What are horror movies about now? They're about demons, they're about ghosts, supernatural stuff. Why? Because we're afraid of the enemy that we can't see. We're afraid of the thing that we aren't aware of. The shadow entities that are controlling the world, these hidden forces that we don't really fully understand. That's what the world is now, and that's what we're so afraid of. That's why our horror movies are so focused on that. And I think that if you really want to understand an era, if you really want to understand a culture, you look at what they're afraid of. You look at their horror films. That is a very interesting thing to analyze,